A lot of people think that, yes, you have to go through on the second point because it's incredibly effective, but the second point of Hanamura can actually give you a lot of opportunity to use a symmetric teleporter to put your Bastion up on that unreachable high ground for anyone but Lucio and, of course, D.Va.
Yeah, but by that time, D.Va's already gone up there. She's going to lose all her defense mages, then get chewed out by the Bastion. British Hurricane running out with something a little bit different though. They know it's going to be the bunker. You can see Suna do a little bit of scouting on the Sombra. They do end up changing up. It's going to be solo tank with triple DPS.
Havicul coming up on the projectile DPS. He did used to be a DPS player for, I believe, NWA. He has actually been slept from long range by A-Fox, but we call him the Icelandic Army
And a
Knight.
nade as well.
For nade and for shots. Okay, A-Fox just like, come on, a date what?
Wow, okay.
Spectral needs some heal.
Yeah, Spectral's dead. Now they just have to rely on Emil. That's a lot of damage on him. That shield's going to protect him for a fair while. Havicul slept again. The sniper from downtown. A-Fox is going to be able to keep doing that, and they should be able to win this push rather easily. There's the invulnerability field coming out on Emil. He's going to heal himself just a little bit up to Pollitt as well. As soon as that dissipates, though, this is Havicul's time to shine. He can really just get up in your face. Numlock's going to be able to take out Urki. This is all kind of falling apart at the seams here, as a tick has already been acquired by Hurricane.
Urki there was hacked by Suna, meaning you couldn't use his Ice Block for that invincibility.
Two
That was
ticks.
crucial to allowing
Spectral's
that
dead as well. That's it, he's done. Emil has to rotate to the point, but he gets taken out by Daned. A couple of swift and quick arrows end up with his life just getting torn away from him. Now Numlock finds a nice double kill as well. And that's British Hurricane now moving on to second point with so many ultimates. Soon's got 15% away from that EMP. Angry Titans, they've got almost nothing. Maybe they rely on Blizzard, but two support ults aren't really going to do a whole lot against that EMP.
Three swaps. Winston, D.Va, and Xayah coming out from Spectral, Lulsish, and Emil. Does it like Danin does not want to save this Dragon Strike and use it. Obviously, he was moving forward to that Dragon Strike thinking that where Emil currently sitting is where the Bastion would be, and he could dislodge him very effectively by using that shield-penetrating ultimate. Urki, however, is actually sticking on this Mei, very close to a Blizzard. He's only 15% away, as you can see. And if he can hit a couple of Icicles, we'll get that incredibly quickly. A hack in the back line.
Danny's going to get slept as well. From downtown again. Yofi's taking out so much damage at this point, just from these windows. Suna now trying to find an entrance. Doesn't want to get discovered by the D.Va, just randomly left-click and get a big EMP. That's going to be the game plan. It's going to come in. The wall's going to come out. There's the EMP straight on 4 people. Transcendence is going to help British Hurricane survive throughout all the incoming damage as well. The Nano did land on Lulsish, but he was hacked, so he couldn't really do all too much. Blizzard's now coming through as well. Urki's going to take control of that bridge, but British Hurricane haven't given up just yet. Box going to get hacked. Another wall actually does segregate the rest of British Hurricane away from each other. Numlock's in the back line at the moment.
Numlock doing a lot of damage. There is the hack, and of course, 150 shield stripped on away.
Very quick EMP. Soon's going to go down as well. That was a 5-man, I believe. Maybe even 6 potentially. Havicul is going to get half staggered out. Hopefully they can, well, they hope they can stagger him out a little bit more. There you go. He ends up resetting himself, making sure he doesn't give any extra ult charge over. Suna now switching over to Xayah. Standard 3-3 for Hurricane.
I'm a fan of what British Hurricane did there, though, in terms of verticality. They knew Fat wanted to put down an amplification matrix in front of himself and A-Fox, who were on the higher ground behind the point, and they knew that if they went down into the sort of like catacombs below, that there would not be an accurate way for Angry Titans to be able to unload through that amplification matrix onto them.
Oh no, that's not where you want to be. They're going to try and save him. They're going to be able to do it successfully for the time being. Big sleep actually onto Numlock. Does end up waking up though. That bubble's going to stop all that Blizzard from going through, and actually Urki's going to end up going down. And now British Hurricane can move onto the point. Nano onto the D.Va, gives him a lot of extra health and a lot of extra sustainability, but he's going to go oh so low. Getting protected for the time being with that Winston shield, but Self-Destruct's going to get launched up. Havicul's going to find at least 1 kill with his. Window isn't going to come out. Fat ends up using that one. And British Hurricane now finding quite a few kills. In fact, Urki, Desperation Bastion to force people off point.
Okay, well, Bastion will try and heal himself up, and still British Hurricane don't have a presence on the point. Jaws, they don't have that tick yet.
Solo grab onto Spectral. No healing coming through. All that damage, and all the healing being blocked off by Numlock as he did use that bubble on top of him. Dan is going to come out onto the Doomfist as well.
There is from the skies, the Bastion.
Someone kill him quick! Dan is going to go down. Urki just healing himself up as well. He's 20% away, actually, from an ultimate. That tank's going to come out rather quickly. Wow. Creep and Bastion got all the way up to the top side of the map without British Hurricane noticing.
Nothing personnel, kids. Angry Titans are going to be heading back. They are actually potentially getting a Symmetra out here. We'll put Urki onto the high ground. No, they're not going to use the Symmetra. So they're going to use the classical high ground positioning of the Bastion. Spectral onto the Ashe, and Urki's ready to go over tank form here. They decided that they want to keep these ultimates, so they are going to commit to using this particular composition. Daned now onto the Genji and Suna on the Sombra. It's more of a classic dive coming through from British Hurricane. They're going to be lacking in healing, of course, because they don't have any huge healing powers coming out from both the Lucio and the Zenyatta, but they do have the Discord Orb, which can be so effective the second that Urki gets hacked to make sure that he's very vulnerable.
Oh, Nano onto Urki, but he does end up getting hacked. He's still alive, though. Just recon mode, killing away Numlock. That's a pretty easy kill there. Just holding down that left click, receiving all the healing in the world as well. Those right clicks from Fat do so much AoE healing. If you just stand on top of your tanks and your Bastion, no way he's going to go down quickly, plus the Bio Grenade as well. Almost invulnerable, especially when he has Nano on him.
Well, invulnerable is exactly what it is, Josh. You have the Immortality field behind him, meaning that he couldn't drop below 20% health. Doesn't matter how much healing you can get or how much damage is done if they're not going to reach 0 health, because that's when they actually get removed from that fight. And British Hurricane, over the course of that fight, didn't really manage to accrue much ultimate percentage at all. You can see Dan had barely 30% on that Dragon Blade. Suna didn't get much done after the initial hack either, because there was so much in his way from Angry Titans, and the tank mode still remains. Suna, once again, may try to open this up with the manual hack using that right click, and Numlock's going to make the engage.
Urki changing it to tank form. No! Numlock completely denies him. Again, the bubble just does so much work, stops all that incoming healing. The window's going to come out as well. That amplification matrix isn't doing all too much, as it was kind of misplaced on the wall. Dan is so close to the blade as well now. You got to be careful.
Oh my lord!
Emil's going to come in though with a big self-destruct, finds 2 people. They only need 1 tick though. Numlocked is going to get EMP'd. Rather quick death for him now. I was so close. Only just Emil. They're getting off that self-destruct in time, clearing out 2 people. Angry Titans continue to hold on to this last point.
Like you said, I'm really not a fan of that use of the amplification matrix. You'd have to have got very, very close to try and like wiggle your way in there and do any real damage through it onto the enemy team. Spectral on McCree, this is what we all came to see, ladies and gentlemen. One of EU's greatest hit scan, playing one of the most exciting hit scan heroes, ready to try and flashbang sooner the second he goes for that EMP. Remember, there is a time you have to try and cancel that incoming blast.
And the Dragon Blade as well, that can be mixed with it, of course. They've got 60 seconds to cap 33%. They got the Blade, it's going to come out. The EMP is going to soon to follow, I can imagine. He's going to try and dash the back line, he's going to find one. Hey, Fox missing the point start, and they don't even touch. They didn't even get kills.
Huh?
Angry Titans just so scared of the Blade and the EMP. They couldn't make it back to the point in time. They end up foregoing that extra 33%, but luckily, they do end up getting sub 1 minute in the time bank. 50 seconds remaining for British Hurricane. Does mean AT, not in the worst spot in the world.
Not the worst spot, but a better spot would have been on the point. Of course, they did not want to all get caught within dash range of Danny. They know that if he gets the dash reset from killing one of their players, they don't want him to be easily able to go to another one of them with either a short or a long dash with a swift strike, but of course resets when Genji gets a kill. And also, if they all moved on to the point to try and contest that, they would have all been in range of the EMP. So they were trying to mitigate the win conditions of British Hurricane there, but British Hurricane didn't even have to try and play on those win conditions. They instead played on the mental game. They tried to play on the fear of Angry Titans. In my head, it was a 1v1 between Daned and, of course, Spectral to see whether there would be enough value from that flashbang, making sure that Genji could not get the value he wanted out of that Dragon Blade. But instead, it just came down to be a 1v1 between Angry Titans and point progression.
Apparently so. Like you said, that EMP didn't really matter at all. Just threw it out at the end. It was like, hey, we've got a couple of people. That's great. Now you can't use movement abilities
We're done. Now turn out the lights.
We're done. We only need 33%, let's be real with ourselves. AT now on the offense, British Hurricane on the defense. British Hurricane not setting up with a bunker, just standard 3-3. So it does mean AT get to choose what they want to run out the door with. They have got currently quad DPS. They're actually changing over to Hog to potentially get a cheeky hook on any lying in wait members of British Hurricane, but no, they're just changing over now. Standard 3-3 it seems.
Urki is still hovering on that Baptiste. I wonder if he will stick with it. Doesn't look like that is going to be the case. Doesn't mean that amplification matrix, of course, can be placed in the main thoroughfare here and do a lot of damage. Can mean that you can one-shot squishies with Fire Strike, of course, if it does 200 damage. Pocket not going to be on that Zenyatta either, which means that Lulsish can feel a little bit more safe with his moving forward.
There's the Amplification Matrix, as well as that shift being used as well. Look how quickly Urki's building up his ult charge. This is something we've got to keep an eye on. Like you mentioned, just so much additional damage. And they can put it on one of these windows as well, going in towards the Hanamura point. Doesn't mean all that damage they're firing out onto the courtyard. Just so deadly.
Numlocked almost has his Earth Shadow already, though. Everyone being put together does mean that he can Fire Strike and swing to his heart's content. But now the movement onto the point will be Angry Titans. Urki needs to build up towards the Amplification Matrix where Numlocked is ready to lay down the hammer.
Numlocked, he's online now. Hafigul is going to be able to find the remake. Now is their chance to strike. He's going to try and move past those.
Surprise!
Seen it. There's 3 people on the floor, but Spectral makes sure Numlock's checked. He ends up moving forwards and killing him off before they could do anything. A beautiful bio grenade actually ends Lulsish's life, but British Hurricane is still fighting on the point. Not anymore though, as A-Fox just clicking heads. Amplification Matrix now available for Angry Titans as they move on towards his second point, as well as a grab and a Transcendence. What more of a perfect fight you could ask for?
And Urki there having great use of the Immortality Field. So many people put down on the floor, but the Immortality Field made sure that you had to clean that up before you could clean them up. And those additional seconds you take to try and destroy that field generator does mean that everyone will have got up from their stuns and they will be safe to carry on. British Hurricane going to be very aggressive on the defense here, taking the forward high ground. Hafigul's on the May, wants to try and make sure that any Angry Titans who make an engagement here could be bisected, caught out, and isolated.
Uh-oh, that's a big boot. Graviton Surge is actually going to connect sooner to the wall. Beat is going to come out, though, from British Hurricane. That lands on everybody. Immortality Field ends up getting deleted. Is everybody standing behind the Amplificator Matrix to make sure they get additional damage on the front line of British Hurricane. Lulsish a little bit caught out from that wall, but still willing to fight Numlocked. Mano a mano.
Daned has now had his respawn and double
Graviton
support
Surge is
ults.
going to come in. Self-destruct as well is going to force British Hurricane away from the point. Double support has been used, Harry. Fat's now fading away, but look at all the damage Urki's doing in the front line, already up to 30%. It was another Amplification Matrix. AT, 6 people on the point, and they can survive as well using this Immortality Field. 2 ticks have been gained as well. Lulsish trying his best to survive. His back's up against the wall. Numlock's got the shadow. This is what he wants to hit. Up in the air, eyes in the sky, but another perfect shadow coming through from Lulsish. They end up trading 1-for-1. Hafigul jumps back onto the point on the May, is able to now wall people off. Angry Titans, you can see they really don't want to fight this. Triple grenade from Bok does end the fight, but not before AT can secure 2 ticks on the point.
That's going to want to take that boot back. Numlocked was looking for the Earth Shatter. Fat came in behind him, booted him into his team, thinking, oh, this is going to put Numlocked in a very compromising position, but he just goes whoop over the shield of Lulsish, lays down the hammer, gets the 2 stuns onto both A-Fox and Spectral. You remove the potential for the damage coming through from Messiah. Not an ideal position to be in, but Angry Titans do have all the time in the world. 4 minutes and 37 seconds still remain, and they need to get 33%. The British Hurricane, the next fight looks to be theirs.
Hurricane
5 ultimates.
Got Snow Globe as well, that grab and that Blizzard, but they might only just need 1. AT, though, are going to grab the front line. British Hurricane, they're already dead. Don't even hit the Q button. That's 3 people dead with their ultimates up. Hafigul comes in with a Blizzard to try and stop people from getting on the point, but it's too late.
How?
AT just grabbed the front line. Everybody dies instantly. And British Hurricane die with 3 ults available. Ends up giving away that extra 33% that was needed and grant themselves a 4-minute and 27-second time bank going into this next round.
Yeah, it looked like Yofi there thought they were going to survive the Graviton Surge, didn't use a sound barrier, or he thought it was too risky.
There's that rally as well.
Yeah, maybe he thought it was too risky a position. Maybe he thought he might die during the cast, because of course he didn't have the rally armor to keep him sustained. At 200 health won't last very long while you're in a Graviton Surge, of course. But British Hurricane, 5 ultimates were available for that fight, Jaws, and basically that's fumbling the serve. 15 love here, Angry Titans. British Hurricane will, of course, gain those 13 seconds they needed to get themselves up to the cursory minute, but that will also be added to the time bank of Angry Titans. And now British Hurricane will be, as we like to call it, Jaws, the pace car. They're going to show how much Angry Titans need to do to secure another map. If they cannot cap anything, then Angry Titans will need to take 33% here to take the map, and maybe there's still the opportunity here for a draw.
Oh man, AT as well. They're on bunker, and it's so hard to crack within 1 minute. You're really relying on just a very early pick-off from something like a Farah. Sooner as well can try and find someone in the back line, or maybe even a headshot from Daned, but everybody's so protected behind that shield, and Sooner's going to take a fair while actually to build up towards that EMP. A minute might just not be enough for them to do this.
Last time the way they did it was they had Sooner get a hack onto Urki, and Emil taking out Hathcool early, obviously not what was wanted. AFox hadn't hit for sleep this time at least. And you can see now Erky's changed up his position. You can see his cryo beam coming out of that right-hand building. He's instead trying to check for Suna.
Uh-oh. Nice little bit of body blocking there actually for Losish. Goes fortified so he takes reduced damage. Emil taking so much there, has to back off. Those fire rockets doing their work.
Erky's been hacked.
Erky's going to get hacked. It's going to wear off though. And that's Hathcool down once again. Erky now planting himself on the point. No one can touch this at this rate. Bokker's going to have to back off as well. Danner's been slept. This is a disaster for British Hurricane. Danner's going to go down. 15 seconds now remain for them to try and claim something.
Erky once again going to be the target soon, managing to get that one, but so many members have already fallen, Jaws.
They're going to go onto the point. Tank form kind of almost there. Suna's going to have to build up this ult rather quickly. Danner now on the Doomfist. It's looking so good for AT. Erky's jumped back onto the Wrecking Ball to try and get back to the point in time. Suna tries to go for the touch. He manages to trigger overtime, but that's it. Danner's going to try and get there, but there's nothing. There's no focus fire from British Hurricane. Just
not like
take
this.
Down Emil. Amplification Matrix with the tank form wasn't even needed by AT, and they managed to find the full hold on this first point.
Gofer there killed midway through his own attempt to resurrect, thinking that maybe that would be the clutch play if it was required, and once again it was a telegraphed attack from British Hurricane. They knew exactly how they did it last time. They managed to get the hack onto Erky. They 2-on-1'd him with both the Wrecking Ball and the Sombra, but this time Erky actually amended his positioning, making sure that he was always in range to receive those healing globes from the Baptiste, making sure that he had that sustainability with those 60 healing globes often hitting him, that he was always in that sightline, wouldn't get picked off early, and he would survive long enough to be able to get into his ice block and use a wall. So that was some great adaptation from Angry Titans, but now British Hurricane, they need to adapt or they need to die. They want to play for the draw, Jaws, but they're going to have to hold onto point A for 4 minutes and 27 seconds to do that.
That's one fight. AT need to win one fight to make it 2-1 in the series. That's all they need.
Need
now,
one tick.
One tick, yeah. Well, yeah. They need one fight too, Harry.
Oh, well, as we've seen, you don't necessarily need to win a fight to get a tick between these two teams.
True. Can just give them, you know, the big old C9.
Yeah, not the greatest point discipline, but it happens. Angry Titans once again going to be coming out on those DPS picks. Fat going to, of course, roll out on Varoto, wants to try and get an early hook, but he will swap away the second that is no longer viable, and Angry Titans will go for their augmented 3-3. They've got the Baptiste instead, don't have a name for this, doesn't matter, just 3-3 with Baptiste. Doesn't mean they're going to once again be able to have that additional AoE healing, doesn't require for Brigitte, but they won't have that stun.
Ooh, Amplification Matrix does so much work, but actually 8 gets taken out regardless. Perhaps not actually in range of the Immortality field.
Yeah, exactly. Look at that kill feed. There was a notification coming through that Yofi got on assist. He booped him out of the Immortality field, making sure that that last 20% of HP could be taken away. AFox now would need to rejoin his team by moving past the blockade of British Hurricane. So Angry Titans need to decide what they want to do here. May rotate back out to try and rescue AFox, or force attention onto the point so that AFox has an opening in this main area. But you can see British Hurricane don't want to allow him any freedom to move through.
That was a big fire strike. That's 90% already to a Shadow. This could be a very early one once again. Shadow's going to hit the ground, but perfectly blocked by Losish. Everybody going so low from the side of AT, though. And look at Hurricane.
This is aggressive.
They really want to play up to this one. The Amplification Matrix is going to come out, but Numlock's now walking past it to make it pretty much useless. A big pin as well, landing onto Spectral. 55% towards another Shatter. British Hurricane, no. They have to burn as much time as possible in this situation.
Yeah, but speaking of burn, Bocket got burned for that aggression. He's already down, and Numlock's lost a lot of his shield health. Bocket's going to take a long time to get back here. Yofi needs to try and maybe bring him on back with that speed boost. But, of course, for long-range healing, Suna takes a lot of damage, but will get healed up via the armor pack. Angry Titans have the Transcendence ready to go, but Bocket can try and mitigate that with a Bardic Grenade.
There's another 20%, and Numlock's almost got another Shatter online. It's the Wink Edition, but Losish laying it out in the back line. A Graviton Surge eat as well for Emil. This is perfect for AT. Erky's Amplification Matrix now doing so much work. A grab onto the side as well. Hathcool ends up falling, and that is it. British Hurricane now scurrying to try and find a kill. Double support all usage might not even matter for AT. Emil slept in the back line, and now it's just the kills trying to come through from AT, but Spectral Emil actually end up falling down. It's not over just yet. It's actually British Hurricane biting back.
The counter-attack here, maybe those double support ultimates did come back to bite them, Jaws.
Shadow still hits, but Numlock's now back in the fight. AFox ends up going down. How have they done this? British Hurricane are coming back. AT, they look so good. They took out 3!
They celebrated the victory too early, Jaws. They hit the Q keys, they hit the Transcendence, they hit the sound barrier. But for what? For nothing. There was no damage that would come through. British Hurricane made a little bit of a faux disengage. They came back on in and they slapped Angry Titans for their confidence. A minute and 40 still remains here, but Angry Titans, they could have been internally tilted by that comeback from British Hurricane. The mental boom. Hafnikal's ready to boom as well.
Self-destruct's coming in on the back line. Doesn't quite find anything, but the grab definitely does. Numlock and Nurky end up trading a Losish. There's nothing he can do to save the rest of his team now. British Hurricane find another team wipe. They actually stagger Emil as well. Now only 1 minute and 15 seconds remaining before this turns into a draw.
Indeed it is. British Hurricane are making the unlikely seem very, very possible right here. 33% was all that stood between them and defeat. We said they need to win one fight. Turns out we were pretty wrong. And now Angry Titans, they do need to make this final push in. Losish is going to be the champion here. He's ready to lay down the Earth Shatter and lay down British Hurricane, but Numlocked will be the wall.
He needs to find the rhythm. Hafnikal jumping in the back line. So much damage across the back line of AT right now. Shatter's going to come through. Numlock's already dead. This is the fight they're after. Yofi's going to fall as a Transcendence is going to come through, but a beautiful bio grenade landing on 3. The British Hurricane just need to capitalize now. AT playing defensive. A nano boost is going to be the only thing that's going to save them now. Soon is already gone. Fat ends up going down as well, but it was 33% that was required. Hafnikal ends up falling, and now AT can finally gain control. Spectral with the grab. He's going to grab the Lucio to the wall. He's the only one left. Numlock comes in with the slam, but is it going to be enough? I don't think so. Self-destruct high in the sky as AT managed to secure Hanamura.
It should have been a clear-cut victory the first time around, Jaws, but British Hurricane showed for resilience. Unfortunately, a shield can only last so long to those protracted strikes before it does break. And only in overtime could Angry Titans eventually claim Hanamura and go up 2-1 in our series, despite being the lower seed.
They had 4 minutes and 27 seconds to attack that point. It looked so good. And then they blew both support ults. They're like, it's won. There's no way they can come back at this.
Fine.
But the supports managed to find 2 picks. But in the end of it all, AT still managed to win out on Hanamura. And now, once again, the ball is in Hurricane's court. It's their choice for next map.
Yeah, we will be going to Escort, and maybe we're going to go over something more classic like Rialto, where they can play those 3-3s and not have to deal with any rather indistinguishable or rather less than normal composition. But this is exactly sort of like the other version of what we saw. We said that Hanamura may not be an advantage for Angry Titans, but they definitely brushed up. They identified their weakness from their previous bout against Gigante.
Angry Titans wanting to make sure they don't keep the curse alive, being always that second place team. They're biting back. We'll be right back, though, after this break. Hey, guys, welcome back. Map number 4 on your screens very soon. Angry Titans almost waylaid that map. That was Hurricane just biting back at the very end of it all. That was so close. Could have ended a draw, to be fair. Hurricane just, with the emergency wrecking ball from Hafnikal, managed to set up the play to make sure the map could continue. But with a 4.5-minute time back and only 33% to get, AT managed to win out.
Speaking of biting back, British Hurricane's hashtag is, of course, Fangs Out. Yep. If you're an Angry Titan supporter, it's hashtag StayAngry. Make sure to spam those in chat to show support for your favorite teams here at the culmination of Overwatch Contenders Europe. We're going to be heading over to Escort next, Jaws. It will be the choice of British Hurricane, but wasn't so great last time in terms of their choice.
Junktown, though, that's a big pick. And I'll tell you why. Sparker is still sitting on the bench. We're going to see him at this point. He's had the whole season, of course, to kind of get to grips with the team, how they actually want to play. And you got to think all the way back to the beginning stages of this season. Hurricane I don't think they weren't scared to kind of use him. They just wanted to make sure they could keep Sparker in the dark for just a little bit so teams couldn't really scout him out and figure how he plays, what they want to play around him. And then later on in the season, when their playoff hopes were almost solidified, then they started to roll him out.
Well, when we look to the more recent past, Jaws, last time these guys met up against each other, one of my favorite moments in the entirety of our group stage was Spectral popping off against British Hurricane on Widowmaker on this particular map. And I wonder if we're going to see that again. I'd love to see a duel between Sparker or Suna and, of course, Spectral. Some of the greatest hit scan talents that we have. I say it again and again. I know I sound like a broken record, but that's because it's true. Spectral, he's one of these people who I am assured will go to Overwatch League for a team at some point because, well, he's just fantastic. He's one of the players who has the most international experience amongst contenders. He's represented Norway multiple times at the Overwatch World Cup. He's captured the attention, the adoration, the loyalty of his compatriots and countrymen for his performances there. And of course, he's gone to Apex as well, over in Korea, back when that was the premier tournament available for Overwatch.
And what you saw in the bottom left-hand corner as well was the little command that you can plonk in chat, !events, to make sure you can secure yourself a ticket to the Atlantic Showdown, which you'll see both these EU teams clap some NA teams. So that's going to be pretty exciting. Make sure you go do that in the chat right now. Yeah,
and just to give you some more information regarding that, the winner of this particular matchup will secure a bye in the first round of the Atlantic Showdown, so they won't have to go up against someone to get through to that second round. So for some value, as well as just being Contenders champions, which I guess just means that you're in a great position to get into Overwatch League, but that's a little bonus for them. Angry Titan's going to roll out with bunker composition on the high ground here, making sure British Hurricane are not going to feel too safe with that early contest of the car.
Yeah, Urki's actually on the Roadhog as well. Anybody that steps out of line, he can just quickly hook.
Oh my.
Folks taking a little bit of damage, but he's going to be more than safe up here with the Baptiste. Los is going to find a kill onto Yofi, and now it's just about chunking down the rest of British Hurricane. They're not going down just yet, not going down without a fight at least. Crouching behind the payload, so it doesn't actually gain any ground.
Indeed it is. This is some great contest here from Zander. Yofi may actually be able to get back, but that's a good angle for A-Fox.
That's the opening they wanted. Urki's going to get naded, but it doesn't really matter too much. Not really much capitalization that can be had by British Hurricane. They're going to get swept under the rug. And A-Fox actually sticking on this Bastion. They're going to set out that pirate ship. Hey, why not? You almost got tanked. Oh, no, wait, hang on a second here. Bok, from the skies, does descend with a bio grenade.
And when we look at the versatility of Angry Titans as well, you can now see that 3 different people from Angry Titans have played this Bastion. We had Emil on it, on Hanamura. We had Urki play it as well on Hanamura for the more clutch at the end. And now A-Fox is the flex support. He's picking it up just like Boombox did. First time we saw Philadelphia Fusion play this composition, it used to be the flex support who would go over to a Bastion. The same thing now happening. And of course, this is what I want to see. Spectral on Widowmaker. Has the infra sites ready to go. British Hurricane have no secrets left. They're going to be found out here.
And this is his favorite spot to sit as well. You can see pretty much everybody. Bok is going to go down already, and now no one can contest him, really. Nothing Lucio can do. I mean, you can fire some sound waves at him, but you've got to pay attention to the rest of your team. Immortality Field's going to keep A-Fox alive as he enters tank form. And now, Daned, you got nowhere to run, friend.
You can't face up to the minigun.
That's it, and now Spectral, just showing off his flick accuracy, is going to find the next couple of kills. British Hurricane, are they actually going to be able to touch it? There's a lot of ults online for Angry Titans right now, including the Amplification Matrix being only 15% away. That's 900 DPS when you have a Bastion behind it.
That's a lot of damage, Jaws. That's a lot of damage. Angry Titans, of course, has the Supercharger as well. They can combine both of them for over 1,000 DPS, but British Hurricane don't want to go up against that right now. They are going to allow that cart to roll on in and take an advanced position instead, opting to use the high ground of this first point to try and keep themselves safe. Spectral, once again, has that viewpoint. It's going to make sure that Numlocked has to angle his shield in a particular manner.
This is where Pirate Ship really falls apart at the hands of at the hands of the enemy team, of course, this time being British Hurricane, as you can drop down on them, especially with this bio grenade. Spectral playing rather aggressive, they're actually rotating the Bastion up. There's the Amplification Matrix, and Nano's going to get used on Numlocked. He's going to hit the Shatter as well, moves past the shield, moves past the Amplification Matrix. He's swinging on in. A-Fox didn't stand a chance. Numlocked, I thought he got booped off the edge, but he managed to grapple onto the ledge somehow. He's like a Hanzo in disguise.
Yeah, he did manage to stay in there, but Angry Titan's not going to be able to do so. They are going to swap over now to, from the looks of it, to the 3-3. We'll have to see if Urki, he will indeed go on to the Brigitte instead of Baptiste, really favoured on Hanamura. But British Hurricane, they now have an advantage, not only in terms of ultimates, but in terms of this positioning, which has served them so well thus far.
British Hurricane have got a nice couple of ults online as well. They got that beat, they got a Happy Cool self-destruct as well. They just have to battle out against Locious in the front line. Both self-destructs launched in. Happy Cool's one was a little bit better though as it kills Spectral. Locious ends up falling as well, not before they can trade. But Hurricane's still most definitely in the driving seat with Suna 100% charge. Emil doesn't stand a chance as his mech gets destroyed.
I'm not a fan there, Jaws, of Emil being killed. Look at Angry Titan's time bank. They have 2 minutes and 50 seconds left, and Emil would have had to have gone all the way back to spawn or jumped off the cliff. You can see at the edge of your viewpoint right there. in order to try and get his mech back. So I'm not a fan of that execution coming through from the side of British Hurricane. Maybe a little bit too bloodthirsty in this case, but they are going to once again maintain this position on the high ground. They're going to have to drop down onto the cart to keep it contested, of course, and Numlock's already there.
Suna's got the grab though, it's only 5% away. Lulch is swinging on in. Disrespecting Numlock just a little bit, but he's going to have to back off. His shield health is not quite as healthy as he'd like it. Numlock now moving forward, has to be a little bit more careful now himself. Graviton Surge gets launched in. Numlock's got the shadow to match up with it as well. A beautiful pin onto Lulch, ends his life rather rapidly as Hurricane regain control of the cup for now.
Beautiful usage there for Graviton Surge, of course, locking everyone in place after they saw the usage of that Transcendence to keep Lulch alive while he was swinging on through. But that does mean that Spectral's now going to have a significant advantage in terms of percentage accrued over Suna here, because of course didn't use it in the last fight. But Numlock, once again, ready to sink the hopes of British Hurricane. These Earth Shatters have again and again shown off how big the brain on Seb Barton is, managing to weave his way through the shield of Lulch.
Oh, that was a lot of damage. If he didn't have his ult,
gold damage,
that's
by the way.
probably about 40% minimum.
Long rotation here, though, from Angry Titans. British
yeah.
Hurricane are going to try and mirror it, make sure they're in a safe position, and now they look like they are, in fact, going to be in the attacker's sort of default position, while Lulch just needs to try and look through here. They do have control of the Mega Health Pack as well, Jaws. They need that burst heal.
Pretty big. Lulch is still trying to get his sealed health back. You can see it's been the main focus once again. He's going to try and move past. Graviton Surge comes out. Lulch just knocks sky high as the self-destruct gets launched in as well. Landing straight on top of British Hurricane, but they managed to block it out for the time being. Angry Titans are still going to move forwards, but they've got to be careful. Lulch just lays down the shadow, but doesn't quite find anything, and now he's on the back foot. An emergency Transcendence to keep him alive. But British Hurricane, they got a shadow of their own. Self-destruct from Mill gets launched in, but it's instantly shadowed away by Numlock once again. He's got an eye for it at the moment. Lulch struggling to keep himself alive. Both teams trading quite evenly at this point, but Suna throws in the grab, ends the fight rather swiftly. And now AT. They've got 40 seconds remaining to push it towards second.
Neither team wanted to give up that fight. All of the resources were invested there, Jaws, and Numlock once again shattering the incoming self-destruct. You got to remember the shatter. It applies stun even to inanimate objects. It can stop their momentum even if they're like Bob or something, meaning they'll stop in place where they're hit by the shatter and then just have to play from there. Lulch once again going to lead his team on this rotation. You know that Numlock wants to get the same swing again, but they're being more aggressive.
From 70 to 100%, Numlock's almost got that shatter online. Not a grab, Harry. Speaking of grabs, Suna's not going to be able to build up his. Hammer does strike the fall from Numlock, doesn't quite find anybody just yet. OT's going to tick through. He finds the pin kill onto Lulch, but AT's still fighting on this payload. They finally find the fight they wanted, just ignoring Numlock for the most part in that one, as they get the payload moving once more, but British Hurricane still have a chance to attack this.
Angry Titans, perfection is demanded here as they roll on towards the culmination of point B of Junkertown. British Hurricane will have the space to try and defend this. You can see Suna there going for a little bit of a scout, catching a little bit of damage, but not enough to give his shield a huge amount of charge. You can see right now Dan is ready to come in from the high ground and get a slam onto the point.
Oh, this could be a sneaky grab from Spectral. He's going to grab everybody to the wall. Still not going to be able to push that payload. Self-destruct on top of Suna's head.
Oh, Suna.
Emil finds him. That shield got removed as well. You saw Numlock actually booped away from the rest of his team. In OT, AT managed to complete the second checkpoint at least, but it only adds 1:30 for them to push it towards third.
Crucially, does mean, though, that they will not have to stay in overtime, so they can position themselves a little bit more aggressively, not worrying that if they don't have someone on the cart, that their round will come to an end. Spectral has high charge here, or just about. 85 will do. Throwing down those mortars, wants to get himself yet another Graviton Surge. Suna's ahead of him, of course, having not used one in the previous fight, but Angry Titans were in such a commanding position right here.
2 support ultimates available for Hurricane as well to kind of mitigate that Earth Shatter from Lulch. Dan is going to use his rally fairly early. Shadow's going to come through, only hits one, and that beat is going to be there to match for Hurricane. Numlock still is going to get charged out. There's no way they can let this happen. Lulch finds yet another kill with self-destruct of British Hurricanes now going to get launched in. And now AT just trying to clean everybody up. They have to stick as 6 though, Harry. They lose one member here, it could be a disaster. Graviton Surge available from Spectral here as well. He isn't going to use it just yet. No, they still have to push it around this turbine.
British Hurricane there, they knew the fight was lost for a second, they lost Numlock, so instead they decided to drain the clock and make sure that Angry Titans, they are going to complete this. It's going to be an overtime. 16 seconds remain. A couple of ultimates in the bank. Going to be 2 Graviton Surges ready to be laying out. Question is, who will be the master of gravitation in the forthcoming fight? The Gravitas right now is with Lulch. She's been able to win these out.
Nice grab. Another one's going to come in though, making sure Lulch can't swing on in. Graviton Surge is going to get met with Transcendence from both sides, and now it's up to Lulsish and Numlock to lay down the biggest shadows of their lives. Numlock gets moved out the way, and the shadow's pretty big. Emil's on the back line, takes care of Bok, and now Numlock's falling as well. British Hurricane at a distinct man disadvantage. Danid ends up falling too, but overtime's in session. AT can move this payload towards its final destination, but they're only going to get a minute on their next attack.
Maybe there will potentially be a little bit of a contest coming through here. Nope, we'll be rolling into the final destination there. And of course, when you're in overtime, your spawn timers are increased so that you do not respawn as quickly. That change was brought in, I believe, mostly to try and counter out how hard it was to complete assault maps in overtime. And now that is also coming into the aid of people trying to close out escort maps where Junkertown spawn is, of course, incredibly close to the final point.
Close.
Yeah, it's just like a short walk.
If you've got any form of mobility, you're going to be there in a flash. Apart from Doomfist, though, the amount of times I've rocket punched the ceiling as you go down the stairs is insane.
Yeah, like the ceilings aren't always the greatest way to use linear mobility. The same thing can happen, of course, to a Tracer if they jump before their blink. But of course, we are at the level where Tracers are a little bit more accustomed to how they would be using that mobility.
Oh yeah, definitely not my level, that's for sure.
Definitely not mine either. Is that Omnic can move?
It is.
Wow, okay.
I've never noticed that
so
before.
Now we know that Omnics can indeed be zombies.
Well, that's worrying.
Mm.
See you next Halloween.
Well, there's Omnic Crisis.
God, please no. 80 now on the defense, British Hurricane on the offense. We did speak about Sparker, but we're not seeing him just yet. I want to see Danid's Widow just a little bit out the gate here. Like we saw AT do, they did a run out with a Bastion first to make sure that British Hurricane couldn't hold close, but they're not going to choose to do that. They're going to go with Bunker. That's going to be the port of call today on these more defense-orientated maps.
Beautiful Roadhog skin. You can see our flashy 2018/2019 Contenders
Tattooed on his
logo.
belly.
Just like it should be.
That's going to hurt.
Does indeed. That green ink's got to hurt. But the question is...
Okay, there's no pain scale for different colours ink, Harry.
Well, now I've learned, and now you've learned as well, chat. And of course, Angry Titans are going to be setting up here with the bunker. Up on this high ground does give them a lot of potential. Good sight lines here. British Hurricane looking at this, want to try and swap up what they have. They are going to go for Danid. Double Snipers actually soon are going to be playing the Widowmaker. Not the most famous of his heroes, of course, but maybe he can make something work. Of course, he does have the potential playtime here to become just as well known on the Widowmaker as Sparker. Moving up onto the high ground will have a good sight line. Of course, he does have the synergy with that Sonic Arrow from Danid, which will allow him to see the locations of other targets.
Well, they don't want to find Suna on a flank here at this point. They're going to have to make sure they check him at every feasible moment. I think it was so far away from the rocket barrage as well. It's going to be a main tool to provide almost so much pressure, although it is a press Q and die button some of the time if you're not careful.
Yeah, it can often put you in a very perilous position. Emil's going to be dancing around.
Wow, that's actually a hook onto Numlock. Got a little bit caught out. And with him going down here is a very, very bad side, although blocked. Somehow, Doc Bot managed to find a right-click onto Spectral. Resurrection from AFOX going to save him for the time being, but that gives Jofi enough time to resurrect Numlock.
Yeah, space generated for both teams here. Happy has that damage boost. Good pile driver usage there.
That's a lot of damage as well coming through from Danid. He avoids the hook. swinging away. 20 seconds now remain for British Hurricane to touch this payload. Both Froms trade 2 kills, but AT with a spawn advantage now.
Got to touch that point will be Happy Cool, who is last one to die. Are they actually going to kill him is the question. They could make sure they just stagger him for so long. He's going to take a while to respawn.
This might be enough, Harry. 5 seconds now remain for British Hurricane to touch this
Yofi
point. What is this?
What in the world?
From the top rope, he manages to still get the cast off, but Dan is dead. AT are 1 fight away from securing this map and leading it to a match point in their favor. Numlock gets targeted out, had to go down. There was nothing left of his shield, and a grab is going to come through as well. Spectral and Fat find the next 2. Haffical disintegrated, and AT will secure Junkertown and find match point in the series.
While we were gone, Jaws, we can be assured that there was a couple of fight wins from British Hurricane, but from the looks of it, they were incredibly expensive. By the time they got to that final point where Lolsis just plonked himself down in front of a payload, said, "You shall not pass," got himself a big shatter for pin kill as well, and there was a great rotation from Angry Titans to make sure they were always having someone on the point to contest that, and that can often be down to Emil with that burst mobility from the jet boosters, being able to move between various targets and critical locations.
It was so close. Perfect eat from Haffical as well. That was the good start that they wanted. Numlock Shatter did get blocked because Lolsis was playing defensive. At the end of the day, if you're the Reinhardt, if you're Lolsis, in fact, on the defense, like, you can play a little bit more defensive. It's like, you have to come to us. You have to push us off the payload in order to secure it. OT is going to be there, and as soon as you step away, that's pretty much all said and done.
Yeah, when you do have those extra meters as well, if there's like 4.5 meters left, you do have a tiny bit of a chance to make those disengages happen, whereas the enemy, they can't have as much leeway in terms of disengagement because they have to be able to stay on that cart to keep overtime refreshing.
AT, 1 map win away from securing the season championship crown and making sure the curse doesn't live on of always being that second place team. We're going to jump to a quick break. It's Hurricane's map choice. Do not go anywhere. Hey guys, welcome back. Angry Titans versus Hurricane. This could very well be the penultimate map. Hurricane get their choice once again, as we saw AT defend on Junkertown.
Yeah, it could be the last map in the series, the ultimate map for Angry Titans to claim themselves their first title of European Contenders after so many close games. They lost out to Eagle Gaming in Paris at the World Cup stop back in Season 2 of 2018. They lost out to Eagle Gaming again. They lost out to Giganti in Season 3, Jaws, and it was very close to them. They were getting a little bit better comparatively, and now British Hurricane stands between them and the title, only 1 map in it.
Yeah, they got their revenge in the semi-finals as well against Giganti. Heavy as the head that wears the crown, managing to take that series 3-1. And now they're going up against British Hurricane, who are currently on a perfect season as well. If they win this out, if they manage to win the next 3 maps in a row, they could have that perfect season under their belts. But it's all up to Angry Titans now to seal the deal on this potential last one.
When we talk about perfect seasons in Europe, Jaws, they've always been a little bit of a curse. We saw Eagle Gaming in Season 1, I believe, having their perfect season in their group stage, and then they were knocked out in the first round. And then we saw Morning Stars have the perfect stage in Season 3. They were also knocked out. Perfect stages thus far, not being a huge boon, maybe not either for British Hurricane, but of course there is still some room to come back. We just need to win 3 maps to make it happen. Yeah,
that's a pretty scary feat, and it can weigh a lot on you as well. But like we said at the very, very first map, you've got people like Numlock, Haffical. They're very much veterans in the team and veterans in Overwatch at this point as well. And you can imagine they're going to be rallying up the squad, just ready and raring to go. I know we are down currently, and it is match point to AT. But we got this. We can find the turnaround. And it does feel like Numlock has found that rhythm to Lolsish as well. There's been a lot of shatters that have gone slightly waylaid because he's just tracking them so well. Same, to be fair, could be said for the other side. Lolsish blocking out a lot of key shadows as well from Numlocked. Both are in each other's heads at this point. It's whether, well, who snaps first will be the end of it all.
Well, you got to remember also we are now past the 4 map mark, which is usually the standard size for a set in Contenders between 2 teams, unless we go to a 5th map tiebreaker, meaning that now the endurance of these players is also about to be tested beyond the limits of what they have seen before. We are going to control, Jaws. Once again, it's the map pick of British Hurricane. Their map picks are yet to be a huge boon for them, with the exception, of course, of Lijiang Tower, the other control map. Maybe this is where they begin their return into the series.
I mentioned on that control too, AT They don't have a 90% win rate anymore because they did end up losing that first one.
Yeah, that's down now.
I can't do the math in my head that quickly, but they are still extremely good on control.
Oh, they
Oasis as well can just lead to so much variable in the variance in the competition, in the compositions as well, or variability in the compositions as well.
Especially on City Centre.
City Centre and also Gardens as well. We could see something like a Pharah come out. More often than not, we do see 3-3 on that specific map, but this might be time for Numlock to flex those guns a little bit on the Winston and bring it out on City Centre, like you said.
Yeah, University can often be sort of like a go-to 3-3 map as well, just like we are going to be starting off on City Centre, unless this is for view from Gardens. I'm not sure. I think it might actually be Gardens. Was I correct?
It is Gardens.
It is Gardens. I think you can actually see that spire from both the maps, so I would have been correct anyway, by the way. But Gardens is one of like the premier Pharah maps, Jaws. This was one of the first maps where we saw Pharah pretty much used ubiquitously when the map was released. I remember people like Agilities and Shadowburn being big players back when they played on Immortals and FaZe respectively.
This is the time for British Hurricane to bounce back. They won control to start us off the series, and AT have proceeded to win the last 3 maps they faced. It's a best of 4 format, like you said, so this is match point. 5 seconds till the doors unlock. Standard 3-3 for both sides.
I want to go back to the basics. British Hurricane have had a little bit of success with this so far. Of course, they did show it off a lot on Lijiang Tower. Maybe Control and 3-3 is their secret sauce to try and bring them back in. You know that Nox, their head coach, has been talking to them in the time away. So Rocket already being down, though, not good news for the start.
Oh, Fox, he picks up Numlocked as well. This cannot happen if you're Hurricane. This just cannot happen. Fox has just been incredible this past season. The amount of first pickoffs he gets is absolutely astronomical, and he's normally what gets the ball rolling for AT to start off maps. And he's done it here again. Fox
is a fragging machine, whether he's on the Ana or the Zenyatta, he can hit the shots that make it count. British Hurricane now, the pressure is on. It's only going to be accruing as they move through this map. Angry Titan's in control, and you can see that Lolsish just dancing between the doors, wants to make sure he knows where to position his shield to give a maximum coverage to his team.
Well, he gets moved into the rest of the team. He's going extremely low, but so is Numlocked. Numlock ends up taking the life of Lolsish already, but a rally is going to come out from British Hurricane to make sure they can try and seal the deal. Fox and the rest of the team don't want to use anything in this situation. Urki had a rally of his own, didn't want to pop that too early. The rally from British Hurricane will end up dissipating regardless. Only lasts 30 seconds now, that armor, not indefinitely. British Hurricane ends up securing the AT. Not a bad start, 34%.
I like the call there from the Titans. They saw that Lolsish was down. They thought, okay, we're not going to win this 5 versus 6. Let's save our resources. Let's come back in bigger and stronger in the next fight. And of course, with the changes to rally in previous patches, that armor has now dissipated from Daned's own rally, will not be available, whereas Urki can continually generate it for his own team.
Numlocked once again has a premium on Earth Shatters compared to Lolsish, but Lolsish swinging into him. Shad's going to get laid down, but instantly you can see the retaliation from Angry Titans. Numlocked went for the risky charge. Graviton Surge is going to come in. Bomb's going to get inserted into the grab of AT. And Afikul finds 2. A perfect start. A perfect counter start, I guess, for British Hurricane, who lost Numlocked so early on. Emil's going to go down as well as they chase the rest of AT away.
And this is what Divas practice these days, George. They got the bomb slide. You saw that Hafikul. He launched that exactly, so that it would just slide across the ground, and it landed right in the middle of this Graviton Surge. Have a look at this here, putting itself between Lolsish and Urki, making sure that no one could shield for the remainder of the team. Beautiful placement. Nice bomb, Hafi.
British Hurricane now continue to hold the point, Harry. 60% building up. AT have got a couple of ults coming online. They've got Sound Barrier, they've got Bomb, of course. Lolsish 15% away from that Shatter.
Indeed he is. We'll have to see if he will be able to make anything work with it. Yofi will be ready to respond if he stays up on the high ground and does not get caught.
He's sighting for it. He knows what he wants to do, but look how much the pressure's just overwhelming. Numlock's going to go down as well. Self-destruct launched up in the air. British Hurricane lose their main tank, but so do AT. And now it's all about just focus fire. They end up trading 1 for 1, but the damage dealers from AT are now getting destroyed in the front line. Afikul gets booped off the edge of the map, but British Hurricane continue to hold.
Fat has had 2 picks here. He's definitely being the warrior that Titans need. They're going to move on to a point, but British Hurricane remain in control, and there's the grab.
Nice grab. Equally good shatter, but it wasn't enough for Numlocked. Not to just swing on in. OT is now in session. AT struggling to get back to the point. British Hurricane want to get back in this series, and this is a good way to start.
And it looked like such a good time for Titans to try and take that one back when we saw Fat get the double assassination there. He got the first one onto Bucket. He fell quite low, and then we saw Hafikul. He went out to chase a kill, used his boosters to do so. That meant they weren't available to save him when he got booped into the drink below at the back of the map. Unfortunately for them, Suna just came in, used a perfect Graviton Surge. A follow-up was definitely there, and despite Lolsish trying his best to keep his team defended, British Hurricane was just overwhelming in terms of their tempo on Control. And we talked about how thus far in the series, Jaws, Control's been the only map they've won. Potentially they have a better understanding of how they want to play their 3-3 around this central objective.
City Center is going to be the next map. No University just yet, although AT, if they do win this, we will head over to that, of course. Roll out the gate, standard 3-3. No funny business. They just want to get down and dirty.
Time for funny business is over. Jaws going to be Hafikul going up high, going for a little bit of a scout. Will slide over here and bring himself into a position on the point. Angry Titan's going to do the same. No one going to be using that elevator to get themselves up onto the high ground. It's going to be all about the messy, in the mud, in the bottom.
Lolsish has been just so far behind normally against Numlock. Just both very aggressive Reinhardts when it comes down to it. Lolsish just likes to get up in Numlock's face. Just the overwhelming pressure on Lolsish's shield is just one British Hurricane out more often than not. Beautiful start to the fight as Bok ends up going down. And now AT, they just need to stabilize here. If anybody falls for them, it will be a very bad trade. They can just slowly chunk out Hurricane. It's probably the best move. Numlock ends up going down as well. And once again, AT win out the initial fight.
Numlock there forced to make the aggressive play. Danhead found himself isolated from the rest of his team by a blockade and Angry Titan's bodies. Numlock thought maybe he could get an early pick by going in for the charge across that blockade. It did not work out in his favor, and himself and Danhead found themselves with a lot less shield health than they would have anticipated against a lot of damage from Angry Titans. And once again, Angry Titans will claim the first fight here. Seems to often be in their favor. British Hurricane, though, they're good at brawling it on back. However, this is one of the more difficult points to take with that central amount of cover that can be gained from that pavilion.
Graviton Surge, fairly early use. There's the Transcendence. Uh-oh, Lolsish is going to get removed from the face of Oasis. Hafikul manages to find the kill. Nice pin from Numlock. He was not even challenged at that point, Harry. Now they're just trying to clear out the rest of AT. Spectral ends up falling. Numlock just swinging for the heavens. He's got himself a shadow for the next fight. The more time AT can build here, the better, really. Just staggering yourself on the point. It's just rather beautiful to see, honestly. 40% now on the board.
It's worth noting the patience that Numlock exhibited there when he saw Lolsish and that grab. He knew that Avox would come in, use that Transcendence to try and make sure that Lolsish would stay alive, make sure that he had the healing he needed. But the second that Avox was caught in that Graviton Surge and could not move after Lolsish, Numlock actually charged him out of the controlling effect into the midst of his own team, out of the area of effect of that Transcendence, making sure the healing was not delivered. Big brains on this Barton.
Hurricane got so many ults to use as well. Suna quite far away from his own, but he's going to be able to build that up no problem. Again, all the focus on Lolsish's shield. Graviton Surge is going to come in. Numlock still got the shadow. There's the self-destruct, but a big boom!
My!
Emil finds 3 kills with the self-destruct. Angry Titans expend 2 ults in that fight as British Hurricane is scattered to the 4 winds. Go back to spawn, but they still managed to secure 40% of this point.
Like we said, the new family members, Fat and Emil, they haven't had the history with Angry Titans. They haven't suffered those losses. They haven't had the frustration of always being second place. They are hungry and they are ready to claim their own first championships here. They don't have the stigma of always coming second, and they are ready to try and force this one down the line. We'll have to see what British Hurricane can do to regain control here as Angry Titans move up towards 65%.
Scary situation for Hurricane. They run straight in, but Lolsish on the side managed to land a 3-man shatter. Danhead and Bok are already dead. Numlock's going to charge on in, donate his body to the rest of the ult bank of Angry Titans. A very quick and clean fight for AT. Hurricane still have room to move, though. 75% means at least a couple more fights. Suna's got that grab online very soon. Hafikul's got the bomb. They just need to land the combo.
Looking like it's going to be one more fight, Jaws, but what are they going to do with that Graviton Surge? You've got to get it past 2 support ultimates, Avox and Fat. They need to be able to stagger these out correctly. They cannot use them together. That could be disastrous.
Look at this. The shield's going to get removed. They're self-destruct high in the sky, and Hafikul gets the bomb between the shields. Fat and Lolsish end up going down. OT is here, yes, but British Hurricane, they got their fangs out, ready to bite Angry Titans.
Now they do. If they can win 2 more fights, Jaws, they will come back into this series and go 3-2, of course. Numlocked has the Earth Shadow ready. He wants to lock down any potential entrance. The Angry Titans can try and finagle their way through. They want to try and wriggle on in onto this point, get that pressure mounting. Fat can do this very same thing with the overshield of the sound barrier.
A shatter just completely telegraphed by Losish. Numlock just throws it on in, but a desperation pin works out for the better this time around. Urki finds himself splattered against the wall, turned into jam. Losish is going to fall as well. And now AT, they're on the 1-fight territory. British Hurricane have got to back off to the point here as the bank builds up towards 90%. They got the tools to work with it though. AT, they've got self-destruct and they've got the grab.
Not just one fight for the stage, but one fight for the entire map, Jaws. It will come down to this for British Hurricane to keep themselves surviving right here. 5%. Angry Titans need to touch, but they could be locked down as they attempt to do so.
What's this? Emil in the backline trying to go assassin mode. Self-destruct onto the point. They're going to get grabbed off of it. And Yofi's going to get caught out. Losish and Spectral end up just cleaving through all of the healing coming through from the Transcendence. Bok's already gone. Havigal's going to fall as well. AT find the perfect grab with Emil self-destruct. OT's going to tick through, and I'm not sure Hurricane are actually going to be able to touch. Angry Titans now 1 stage away from securing that championship title.
We talk about bisections a lot, Jaws, but that one was absolutely perfect. We saw Emil, he had to go in and trigger overtime. He was out of a booster, so he didn't throw in his bomb, he just parked it. But crucially, he parked it between Bucket and the remainder of British Hurricane, who were getting aggressive. He forced Bucket to move around into that pavilion for cover, making sure that he could not use the Transcendence that was required at the time that it was needed. And they made sure that no one could go back and help out Bucket to join him where the Transcendence was, because they were all grabbed to that wall. And not only that, it meant that because there was that wall between them, Bucket couldn't even throw out a Harmony or even meager healing that could have been delivered that way, or the Discord. They completely made Bok irrelevant in that fight. And now, Angry Titans, they are on match point, they are on stage point as well, but British Hurricane have 1 point of their own, and they're going to be fighting for survival here on University. 3-3 versus 3-3. Bok is down!
With the assassination onto the backline, and Bok is dead. Hurricane, once again, it feels like they're just leaving him alone in the back line, not being checked at all, is Emil. Losish does end up falling as they do brawl out. Numlock just trying to get as much ult charge as he possibly can as they do stall out this point a little bit longer. Numlock's, yeah, he's going to fall eventually, but he did earn himself a shatter in that fight, but AT get the first cap.
You do. Losish going to be returning as well. Spectral has the energy to try and get a little bit of additional ultimate charge on his board with, of course, those long-range mortars. And now, Angry Titans are in the defensive position once again. Every fight here on Oasis, they have won the initial fight. They are getting these engagements, and they're getting the picks onto Bucket. Someone needs to help out the Doc. Who heals the healers, Jaws? It's got to be Daned. It's got to be Yofi.
They're going to jump straight on Urki. They're going to get baited in, though. The Doc is down once again. Numlocked has found a kill of his own, but he's got the shadow, but he gets actually booped in to the small alcove in the bottom. What can you do down here apart from kill Spectral, of course? They are still surviving on the point.
Why?
Very late Transcendence from Avox, not subduing really any damage, but they're still fighting on the point. Losish got a shatter of his own now as Numlocked ends up going down.
Pressure could be mounting. There's a Graviton Surge for Soundbarrier will answer.
This is so desperate though. Losish is going to fall, yes. The self-destruct clearing everybody away. Is it going to be enough? It might just be. I take that previous statement back, but self-destruct from Angry Titans to buy yet more time. Spectral lobs out a grab and it hits absolutely nobody.
Well, the grab and the trance, maybe pressure's getting to them, Jaws. They're going to have to re-engage, and there's the shatter!
With the 4-man shatter! 60% now for AT. British Hurricane need to get back to the point ASAP.
We may have messed up 2 ults, but Losish is here. He's the old, reliable main tank, lays down so many members of British Hurricane, and that's got to be a real tilter if you are on the Fangs outside for London Spitfire Academy team. Their parents, they were the Season 1 Grand Champions of the Overwatch League, but right now it doesn't look like they're going to be the Season 1 Contenders Grand Champions. There's Losish. I have the Kaiser, truly.
Now one more fight stands in their way, 85% as well. Numlock has the shatter, early Transcendence, another one coming out from AT as well. Losish gets stunned up, but he doesn't seem to bother him whatsoever. Numlock getting pressured out so much. Look at all the damage that's laying upon him. A Discord Orb's doing so much work now. An assassination potential from Fat doesn't quite find it just yet. Losish lays down another shatter, and Danet's already dead. OT is now in session, but Numlock strikes back.
Gets for pin, there's for self-destruct, it's going to claim Murky, there's still a chance for Hurricane.
Numlock still finds another kill with the Flame Strike. But AT, Harry, they just need to win one fight, and the title is theirs.
One fight will do it. 0% will tick up to 1 to 2 inexorably towards 100, and that will bring British Hurricane back into this series. The Angry Titans, 99%, 1.3 maps on the board. The first of 4 could go in their favor. One fight is all that will require it. British Hurricane need to be perfect with their ultimate usage here. They need to win out with just a Graviton Surge in this next fight, potentially, but Spectral's going to be ready to counter that one out, make sure there's no follow-up. He's going into the back to try it.
Graviton Surge is going to come in. Emil's going to have to be rather careful. Losis is already dead. It's good signal the end of the fight. Urki's going to jump onto the point. So is AFOX. They're going to reset themselves for the time being.
I talked about perfection that was required. Only the Graviton Surge, that's all that British Hurricane used. This is now when you coalesce around your callers. Yofi, Daned, Hafikul, they are shouting the orders, they are barking them. The soldiers of Hurricane must fall in line if they are going to remain disciplined enough to not allow Angry Titans to claim a single fight here. Lolsish doesn't have that shadow right now, but they do have 2 very powerful tank ultimates. They do have that old classic combo, but that's been very subjectively not
Graviton Surge is coming in. Bomb's going to land on top. Removal of the shield is all that's needed.
What a
Emil finds 2! Numlock's going to lay down the shadow of his own, but the beat is going to save them for now. Sooner and Daned are dead. Spectral's got nothing to worry about. Neither does Lolsish. Numlock's going to go down as well. The hopes and dreams of British Hurricane are getting scattered. AT are going to push them off the point, and the curse looking to be broken.
3 finals in a row, and this may be their one.
Ball's coming in, but OT is there. AT know they've done it. The curse, this is it. This is what they wanted to do. Emil, the new diva to the team, finds 2. There's still Numlocked on the field though, but Danet's going to fall.
They may have stayed angry, but now they're furious. Numlock's back, and there's
The
the slam!
from Lolsish, this is it. It's all done. Self-destruct as well. Is it going to survive at all? The Transcendence is going to come through to save them for the time being.
It's a mess. They need to call it. There's the grab. Swing on in, Lolsish, my son!
Bok is dead. Soon is down as well. Daned is still stalling out this point, but there's so many members from AT actually alive. Daned ends up falling. Numlock comes back in once again, but he gets instantly dispatched with AT. Have broken the curse. They are your champions for the Season 1 of 2018.
That they are, Jaws. 3 finals in a row. The first against Eagle Gaming in Paris for World Cup stop. They fell. The second against Giganti for Season 3 2018. They fell. Last time they faced British Hurricane in group stages, they fell, but they keep on getting back up. They're basically like our own Captain America, and they finally won.
Emil at the very end with a 2-man self-destruct. A new face to the team, along with Fat. They've performed just extraordinarily well in the big shoes that were left behind when 2 people moved over to North America. What a triumphant day for AT, all sitting in their gaming house as well, of course. The energy in there is just going to be absolutely incredible.
I can't imagine how ecstatic the team are. This has been avoiding them for so long, this victory, and it does weigh on you, the stigma, the mentality for these players that they've come so close so many times, but yet never being able to take that final step. But now they've made that leap of faith. They have cemented themselves in the annals of history for Overwatch Contenders. They have written their name in the stone tablets, and it will read Angry Titans. They didn't just stay angry, Jaws. They got furious. Loss after loss incensed that rage and brought them to the peak that they have experienced today.
Just an incredible roster with so much history behind it already. And now with that trophy in their cabinet, their praises can be sung, really. And again, another curse is still in place. British Hurricane with a perfect season as well. And they end up falling at the final hurdle. But this is all a day for AT just to now look back on going into Season 2 later in this year.
A curse was always going to be broken today, Jaws. Either that of a perfect season or that of Angry Titans getting to finals and then not being able to make it work. Unfortunately for British Hurricane, they haven't been able to repeat the history of their last Season 1 win, but both of these teams do have the prize of going over to the Atlantic Showdown, where they will be going up against a fair few teams from North America, as well as one from South America. Envy, Atlanta Academy, and Fusion University wait for them there. And Envy, of course, hosts previous Angry Titans teammate Elivote, so they will be going up against their former compatriot at the International LAN event.
It's pretty terrifying, to be honest, going against your old teammate. like we mentioned before, the big shoes that Emil had to fill. And you can see how much he came up clutch. These self-destructs were just nigh on perfect. It's been a while since we've seen any deviation really from the 3-3, Harry. But you can see that EU really does perfect what they do end up playing. We've had Season 2, Season 3 of 2018, now Season 1 of 2019. Just more and more 3-3, which has trickled its way into Overwatch League, of course. And you can see where a lot of EU tanks as well are making it to the Overwatch stage.
Yeah, they are definitely in demand to pick up some Overwatch League main tanks. You can definitely look to EU if you want to find some of them, but also the calling is so powerful as well. We've seen such phenomenal shot calling from both of these teams. It makes me wonder what we're going to see from them potentially in Contenders Season 2, if the meta will change at all, or if it will still be 3-3 that dominates, and that's where Europe really has its power right now.
And like you mentioned before, now they get to flex their guns a little bit more on the international stage versus some NA teams. British Hurricane can definitely look forward to that. It's going to be around about where AT are housed up as well, so that's also going to be pretty exciting. Maybe they get some team house buff in some kind.
Yeah, maybe. The team house buff, of course, can be a great boon, either for your mentality or in other manners. And you can have a look at the bracket right now.
Yeah, SA number 1, whoever finishes first in SA Contenders, will face up against Hurricane. And the winner of that match will go up against Team Envy, Fusion University versus Atlanta Academy. And the winner of that, they're facing our champions, AT.
I remember it's also going to be a double elimination bracket. It's been a while since we've seen one of those in an official Blizzard tournament, and it does mean that if you lose once, you will actually get seeded down into the lower bracket, have a chance to make that run back. So it's not all over after a single victory, and that's where teams who have this more practiced, well-drilled mentality that can be brought into you by good backroom staff, good coaches, good managers, that's where they'll be able to flourish.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of familiar faces to EU, especially coming over, like you said, from Team Envy. But not only that, got Funny Astro as well, who's currently playing for Atlanta Academy on a two-way with Atlanta Reign as well.
Yeah, he'll be going up against his former team in British Hurricane, so that'll be a nice little reunion for themselves. And I do wonder who's going to come out, of course, on top of the Atlantic. Now, between you and I, we obviously think it's going to be Europe, and with the play that we've seen today, I think Angry Titans, they are actually going to be the hosts of the event for Take TV, because Take TV owns Angry Titans, and it's going to be at the Take TV studios in Krefeld, so may also have that home team advantage.
Yeah, you'd hope so. But for the time being, AT can hold their heads very, very high. I mean, what a season it's been as well. There's been so many beautiful stories of up-and-coming players too. You look at teams like Shoes Money Crew, JKLO and Slur, their first season into Contenders, making it all the way to playoffs. They did get slain by British Hurricane in the semi-finals, but what a momentous occasion for them as well, just making it that far.
Yeah, next on the Contenders Europe story, of course, we'll be having Contenders Trials, where two relegated teams will be heading down to go up against people who've come up from Open Division to see who's getting seeded into our second season. But for us, it's going to be all about looking to Atlantic Showdown for where the big titles are coming through.
Yeah, that it will. And if you haven't had enough of Overwatch, there is some Overwatch League action happening a little bit later on today. And I'm sure you're going to want to stick around for that. But from us here in EU, my name is Jules, that is Legday, of course. We'll see you very soon.